Ministre des Affaires étrangères et de la coopération de l'Italie.
Thank you very much, President. Thank you very much for this amazing event. We know that after the review of the Secretary General and the discussion that we are having here, the organization is putting on the agenda of our national government the need to strengthen the coherence, the relevance of peace and security architecture, to make it better fit for purpose, because we know that now it's time to make sense of all our discussion and to deliver the implementation. It's a question of definition of our role, it's a question of goals, it's a question also of experience of what UN lived in the past, and also is a question of a concrete proposal. First of all, definition. We know the nature of the conflicts, and especially the effects of the conflict. The outcome of the conflicts are based on borderless challenges. Borderless means that now we know that the influence on each local and regional event is based also on effect that are delivered to the people involved in the sufferance, and also the borderless effects are based on our capability of UN. Many question of the relevance of the UN, but if we start from a definition of borderless challenges, nowadays the UN, with the role of the Secretary General and the discussion like we are having, can have an effective multilateral role. The goal is the effective multilateralism. On the base of a new map of risk, on the base of new regional and especially analysis of the factor of crisis, we can create and unite a significant number of states and organizations around a common theme. A common goal means diversifying action for the early warning in the conflict, diversifying action and uniting a common global theme, also the crisis management, the conflict resolution. The UN has a relevance in the goal of an effective multilateralism, because we know that nowadays if the borderless challenges are affecting different regions, a unite different region in this new global order, we know that we have to diversify and organize ourselves. We are coming from an experience. After 70 years of fresh look is needed. We know that there are some remarks that we have to share among us. First of all, the responsibility. We know that we have to find a new balance between national interest and common global value. A new balance means that to reorganize also an agenda where the framework of our action should be based on the new risk, on the new global map of risk. And we know also that we can use new tools, because the new means of technology, the new means of sharing information in a global society that has a global civil society more active, give also the possibility to have, in terms of responsibility of the national interest, a new agenda. We need also an holistic approach. The Agenda 2030 introduced an integrated approach to security. This means that in diversification of our action, we have also to diversify our analysis on what we need in terms of managing of the crisis. Conflict prevention as well. The Peace Building Fund, our country is investing, like most of you, means also to reorganize what does it mean in terms of priority our action. And also partnership. To give the role and to have a goal as a UN, as an enabler for peace, means also to rediscuss and to discuss among us what does it mean today an inclusive society, an inclusive state building where the actor, and especially the often marginalized women, youth, moderate religious leaders, are part of rebuilding an agenda of conflict prevention. In this context, stronger partnership with regional and sub-regional organizations under the Chapter 7 of our Charter means also the continent brings together their agenda in conflict prevention, mainly, like we heard before, about the African Union experience, because the regional and sub-regional bodies have a better direct understanding of what does it mean on many issues to create a stable, inclusive society, stable, inclusive national organization for goal and definition that we change. But we know, and going to the conclusion, Mr. President, that in front of us, if those are the new challenges, we need also to address new solutions on the base of the UN values, concrete proposal, concrete example, because what we are living today needs action like we are discussing here. For example, concrete examples on migration. In Europe, we are facing unprecedented flows in the Mediterranean. That is a region that nowadays is the conjunction and the connection of 3 different continents, Europe, Asia, Africa. And we know that on migration, saving life at the sea in the Mediterranean is a priority. At the same moment, like we are proposing with the Migration Compact at the level of the European state, we need to reorganize in terms of cooperation, investment, solidarity, but also investing in partnership. What does it mean, concrete action, when people are dying and when people are flowing, escaping from war, sufferance, and poverty? And also on prevention. The negotiation of political solution nowadays needs, in the multilateral framework that enforce the Security Council of UN, also to involve all the relevant actors, the countries that are near the conflict, the regional, sub-regional actor in multilateral and minilateral framework of action. Because we know that most of the case, if you want to solve conflict and the best way to avoid the use of military force, you need to involve all the actors in a common framework of discussion, political management of the crisis and solution. And the same applies to the violent extremism, because we know that in the multidimensional contribution to eradicate terrorism and extremism, you need, of course, action, but you need also investment on culture, education, and provoke reaction in the society that are threatened by the minority that use weapons. And if you allow me, last point, in this multi-dimension action for conflict prevention and management, also the cultural heritage. Because nowadays what we have, and there is a threat of peace in our region, in this global Mediterranean region, is also related to identity. And cultural heritage, with many experiences that are going on, from the Blue Helmets to other UNESCO approach, is also to defend the united approach of different culture and different experience that is the base of our common value and our common identity. Dear President, different action for early warnings, wider range of moving between the emergency and between the investment for humanitarian principle and humanitarian base of our common understanding, to prevent and to manage crisis, but also to enrich our debate and to strengthen the UN vision, because what we need nowadays is effective multilateralism based on value, but also based on action. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency, Mr. Vincenzo Amendola, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Italy. And I now give the floor to His Excellency